What you've seen in any documentary about any band before or since is how great and wonderful everything is. It's not the truth of it. It's hell, it's hard, it's horrible, it's enjoyable to a small degree, but if you know what you're doing it for, you'll tolerate all that, because the work at the end of the day is what matters. We managed to offend all the people we were fucking fed up with. The Labour Party, who'd promised so much after the war, had done so little for the working class that the working class were confused about even themselves and didn't even understand what working class meant anymore.
Well, it's cold and miserable. No one had any jobs. You couldn't get a job. Everyone was on the dole. If you weren't born into money, then you might as well kiss your fucking life goodbye. You weren't going to amount to anything.
The germ, the seed, the Sex Pistols generated from that.
Now is the winter of our discontent, made glorious summer by this son of York.
England was in a state of social upheaval. It was a very, very different time. Total social chaos. There was rioting all over the place.
You want to join the picket line?
The strikes on every kind of amenity you could think of. Power. The TV channels would go on and off randomly. People were fed up with the old way. The old way was clearly not working.
A little bit sticking up there. You can see it in the reflection.
Ultrabright gets you noticed.
You're told at school, you're told at the job centre, you're told by everyone that you don't stand a chance. And you should just accept your lot and get on with it. That's where you're going to get social strife, hate and war and race hate. When you feel powerless, you will grab any power you can to retain some kind of self-respect.
Do you want something on how many people have been there? Don't lay your hand on me, Miss Hunks, I'll break your fucking jaw.
That man is sad because he's misinformed and he's misled and he's used.
Yes, I am a racist, and why? Who's made me a racist? This government, the Conservatives, and every sturdy, stinking councillor who sticks up for the nigger. And I'll stand by my words, because I don't like these people, never will do.
Words are my weapons. Violence is something I'm not very good at. I don't think you can explain how things happen other than sometimes they just should. And the Sex Pistols should have happened and did.
There's a lot of black kids around Shepherd's Bush, and we used to go to their parties and listen to ska music. It sort of developed from there, really, I think, our interest in music. I think it was Wally, the famous Wally Nightingale, who said, well, let's start a band. At the time, Wally said Steve would be the singer and I would be on drums. Wally actually played guitar, and so it was up to each of us to go off and learn our instruments.
We used to rehearse and just kind of like fantasise, really. If I wanted to wear something that T-Rex was wearing the week before, I'd go down King's Road and fucking steal it. I always used to end up at Let It Rock, which was owned by Malcolm McLaren and Vivian Westwood. All the other shops you went in down the King's Road, you walk in and you get like 10 puffs on you, asking you what you want, can I help you? So that's why we'd always end up at Vivian's, because it was like a hangout. I liked the clothes, they were different. It weren't all flares and kipper ties, you know, it was teddy boy clothes. It was a lot more rebellious, and that, obviously I was drawn to that.
The teddy boy thing for me was all about the idea of being a peacock and standing out in the crowd, but at the same time feeling a sense that you are part of the dispossessed, which, at the end of my art school term, I thought I could make a profit by.
I became friends with Malcolm because he had a lot of contacts in music. He seemed to know everybody. He finds a way in with his blag, which is perfect for a manager.
I walked up and down the King's Road with complete anger and resentment. People were extremely absurd and still stuck into flares and platform shoes and neatly coiffured longish hair and pretending the world wasn't really happening. It was an escapism that I resented. There was also a garbage strike going on for years and years and years, and there was trash piled 10 foot high. They seemed to have missed that. Wear the garbage bag, for God's sake, and then you're dealing with it. And that's what I would be doing. I would wrap myself basically in trash.
And that's so lamely and unfashionable that dogs bark at me as I halt my head.
I've got news for you, dogs bark at me. In a weird way, that whole persona of, say, Richard III helped when I joined the Sex Pistols. Deformed, hilarious, grotesque, and the Hunchback of Notre Dame is in there, and just bizarre characters that somehow or other, through all of their deformities, managed to achieve something.
Just for a short while, scratching the sand, let go of his hand.
Steve was a kind of kleptomaniac, really. I'm sure he would be diagnosed as that, you know, because he couldn't keep his hands in his pockets, which was quite handy, really. We'd always know a way in round the back of Hammersmith Odeon, being our local area. David Bowie was playing the Ziggy Farewell thing, and while the roadies was asleep in the front row, we'd be going around on stage snipping all the microphones off. We had great guitars, amplifiers, great drum kits, PA system, everything. You know, we couldn't play it properly.
To prevent myself from being beaten up by what were Uxbridge teddy boys coming in, pilfering in the store, I decided to go down another route, rubber and leather fetish wear. I felt that that would look fun and exciting on the King's Road because it would have a similar effrontery that teddy boy clothes had, except it would be new.
I always did view myself as one damn ugly fucker. And certainly weren't no Bella the Ball.
John just started going into spasms in front of the jukebox and singing and doing his act, what later became everyone knows and loves, you know. And I knew right away then that he was the singer, he was going to be the one, really.
If you could see, oh God, fuck off.
All our first rehearsals were a nightmare. I couldn't hold a damn note.
Paul couldn't really keep time. I couldn't play guitar. I fucking hated it. It was just a fucking noise. But I just stuck in there because that's all I had.
Oh, fuck it, it's awful. I hate songs like that.
Right from the start, we'd argue. Bitterly. For day one rehearsal, pure, full-on row. It would be constantly, you know, you've got to learn to sing. And it's like, why? Says who? Who wrote the rules here? But that's all right. You need that difference of character.
I didn't think if I could be a sculptor, I necessarily needed clay. I suddenly thought you can use people, and it's people that I used like an artist. I manipulated. So creating something called the Sex Pistols was my painting, my sculpture, my little artful dodgers.
You don't create me. I am me. There is a difference.
Everyone in the planet knows Malcolm's full of shit. He's convinced people now that he's full of shit by all the shit that he says. It gets worse and worse.
And the idea of the name Sex Pistols was sexy young assassins. Pistol meaning a gun, and then pistol meaning a kind of penis.
I want you to know that I love you, baby. To me, that's really naff. So I want you to know I don't care. It comes quite naturally. If I take other people's songs, I put a twist on them.
You know, one week we'd be playing up in High Wycombe, opening up for Screaming Lord Sutch, and I remember seeing some faces in there, guys with long hair.
But all other indications suggest. But all other indications suggest.
And then like a week later we'd be playing at the Nashville.
I fell in love with a man. Now we're in for the dirty night. Dirty night.
And I'd see the same people with the haircut short and wearing the ripped up t-shirt. Every gig you'd see a few more and a few more and a few more people who just got converted.
The Sex Pistols definitely created new environments. It was incredible good to see the audience being individual.
There's nothing wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with me. God, I don't know it. It's fucking ridiculous.
There were some absolutely stunning original people out there.
There's nothing wrong with me.
Sue Catwoman. That woman required a lot of skill, style and bravery to look like a cat. There was a couple of years there where it was stunning. People that had no self-respect suddenly started to view themselves as beautiful in not being beautiful. Women started to appreciate themselves as not second-class citizens. Punk made that clear.